Hello, today I'll present a seminar on the Telltale Heart, a famous short story written by Edgar Allan Poe. Although the story is very short, it is considered one of the most powerful pieces of psychological horror in American literature. In my presentation, I will give a detailed summary of the plot, some background information about the author, an analysis of the story's important literal elements, and finally, I will share some of my own thoughts and reflections about why the story continues to matter even today. I chose this story because Poe's writing is incredibly intense. In just a few pages, he creates suspense, fear, and psychological drama. The themes of guilt, madness, and obsession are timeless and still relevant today. The Telltale Heart is about a named narrator who insists he is not insane. However, he becomes obsessed with an old man's future eye, which he believes is evil. Every night, he sneaks into the old man's room, and one night, he murders him. He hides the body under the floorboards. Later, when the police arrive, the narrator begins hearing a beating heart growing louder and louder. The sound represents his guilt. Unable to stand it, he confesses. Edgar Allan Poe was an American writer born in 1809. He is famous for his gothic and psychological horror stories. Poe experienced many tragedies, including the death of his mother, foster mother, and his young wife. These losses influenced his writing, which often deals with madness, guilt, fear, and death. This information comes from the Poetry Foundation. The main character is the narrator who is clearly unstable, even though he says he's sane. The old man is innocent, but the narrator fixates on the vulture eye. The police officers are calm and polite, but their presence increases the narrator's guilt. The story takes place in the old man's house, mostly at night. The darkness and silence create a tense atmosphere. This setting supports the story's mood of fear and suspense. The nighttime setting also symbolizes the narrator's descent into madness. Everything happens in secrecy, making the reader feel trapped with him inside the house. Poe uses a simple plot structure. The narrator begins by insisting he is not insane. The rising action builds as he watches the old man every night. The climax is a murder. The police arrive, and the story ends with the narrator confessing. One major theme is madness. The narrator believes he is sane, but his actions show otherwise. Guilt is also a major theme, shown through the beating heart that grows louder and louder. Paranoia and obsession are also important themes. The narrator's mind focuses so intensely on the eye that it destroys an innocent man. Poe warns readers about how a single irrational idea can grow until it controls someone's entire life. Poe uses symbolism in his story. The eye symbolizes the narrator's obsession and fear. The beating heart symbolizes his guilt. The imagery, especially description like vulture eye or a dull blue eye with a film over it, creates a disturbing visual image. The narration is a first person and reliable, which makes the story more intense because words trapped inside the narrator's mind. What I found most interesting is how the story shows the power of guilt. The narrator thinks he has committed perfect crime, but guilt slowly destroys his confidence. The heartbeat represents how guilt becomes louder the more we try to hide it. Even though the story was written in the 80s, it feels surprisingly modern because it explores human psychology in a realistic and powerful way. In conclusion, The Telltale Heart is about a powerful story about guilt, madness, and fear. Poe's use of symbolism, imagery, and narration makes a story extremely effective. Even today, it remains meaningful because it shows that guilt and obsession can destroy a person from the inside. That's all. I want to thank you